Vice Mayor.
Steve.
Hi. So let me find. So regarding the trail access, I
Yes.
think the staff said the applicant proposed it. I thought you guys don't really have a preference for the trail access.
So the trail access came about with some members of the public reaching out to us saying that they would like us to investigate whether a trail access could be done between our project and the trail behind our project. We talked with staff, and staff acknowledged that that's not a requirement for the project. There is no objective standard to provide such a connection. We said there seems to be interest. We've had 2 community meetings, and we've had many individual meetings with the surrounding neighborhood. So the correspondence was, you can draw a detail, you can show it to us, and you can see whether it can work and what the cost for the trail would be. So we did a preliminary design. We submitted it to the city. We said we are neutral. Summerhill Homes is not taking any position on this trail. We have provided design. We got cost estimates. I believe it was $377,000 to construct the trail. We told staff if the council desires to have this trail, we can build it as part of our project and get reimbursed for the cost of it through our park fees. If the city doesn't want it, it doesn't get constructed. And again, Summerhill is just trying to accommodate the comments that we have received from the residents. That's it.
But you don't want to cover the cost of constructing it.
It's not a project.
wouldn't.
It's not a component of our project. Again, I think it benefits the city. If the city chooses to want to have this connection, it can benefit the city because we can typically build it much less at a much less cost than the city can. So this is a mechanism potentially for the city if you desire to have such a trail. But again, for us, we're not taking any position on it. I was asked at several of my individual meetings with council members and planning commissioners, well, would Summerhill like to have it? I would tell you, typically when you have this kind of a bike trail that goes through a residential project and it goes between units that are so close to each other, our buyers don't like it because there's impact. However, if the city wants to have this trail, we'll be more than happy to build it. But no, it's not. We're not advocating for it. We're just trying to be neutral to let the city decide what they want to do.
Okay, thank you. And regarding the truck access to the Linda Vista Drive, so the request from the Planning Commission is to limit truck access. Is that part of the conditions of approval?
Yeah. So we met
Right
with
now,
the
so
planning.
you would like that removed?
So we met with the planning commissioners, and a couple of the planning commissioners asked if we could volunteer to have the trucks not have access through the surrounding neighborhood during certain hours, in particular when the school was in session. We checked with staff, and staff let us know with Public Works. They let us know that the city already has an ordinance that covers the hours where you can't have truck routes going on certain streets. We met with the planning commissioners that had requested this. We told them there is an ordinance. Obviously, we're more than happy to follow the ordinance. So during the planning commission hearing, one of the planning commissioners said, we want to go ahead, we have talked to the applicant, and we want to go ahead and make sure that this ordinance is followed. In addition to that, they added a couple of streets. One of them was the frontage of the project, which is Linda Vista. That's not part of the city ordinance. If you add Linda Vista to the hours of non-operation for those trucks, you are going to be extending the construction period for this project quite a bit, because you're not going to be able to get access for approximately 4 hours a day on Linda Vista. Linda Vista is not one of the streets that's identified by the city as a road that needs to be have restricted hours. So our request is to follow the city ordinance and follow the hours that they've stipulated for the streets that they've stipulated, not Linda Vista itself.
So my
that's
question is, for the recommended action, does that include or not include the frontage of Linda Vista Drive for the truck access
So
limitation.
the current condition has the limitation on Linda Vista Drive as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Okay, so the applicant would like that limitation removed.
Right, to be reduced to what the current code says, which again does not include Linda Vista Drive.
Okay. And thank you for coming up with a potential two-story option for 5 of the units adjoining to the neighbor. Could you talk a little more about that? Do you have
Sure. So
something to show?
in our meetings with council members, we were asked for several concessions. Councilmember Fruin asked us, can we please try to find a way to do two-story units for the five units that were abutting existing residences. It is a substantial financial hit to the project, but in a compromise, we agreed with Councilmember Fruin, yes, we will go ahead and provide that as a voluntary condition to the project. We have submitted that voluntary condition. It has several stipulations with it. Essentially, we agreed to do that. You have to read it because it gets very technical, but I'll try to summarize it if I can, but again, the technical terms are there. We volunteer that based on the fire department and the city staff's review of the two-story and making sure that the footprint of the 2 stories that we have proposed works within the city and the fire department code. After we spoke with Councilmember Fruin, we also met with staff and we talked with the fire department, and it became very evident that it took us over a year to get here as far as plan check, and as a fire chief explained, we went through many iterations for them to finally accept the plans. And the comments that we received is, you want to change a 2-story just in 1 week without us having reviewed it. So the caveat that we put in there is that we need to be able to get those approved in order to do that. So that's one. And the second caveat that we have in there, obviously, is if the project gets challenged, we're no longer accepting that voluntary condition. So that's in respect to the 2-story. And Councilmember Chan, we met with you and you asked us, can you please look to see if you can do a non-combustible fence for the perimeter of the site. We said we hadn't proposed that because we have other alternatives. You said, please look at it if you can do it. And we said, we looked at it and we came back to you and said, yes, we can do the non-combustible perimeter fence for the site. So those are the 2 gives that we tried to do in our meetings with the council members. I hope,
Pardon,
if
real
that
quick,
answered your question.
Pardon, the original plan that I was shown already had 2 stories on the perimeter.
No,
the original, not this one, but when you first showed it to me back when you were showing the Staples project, it was stepped down.
Yeah, so that was not the plan that was submitted to the city. Eventually, the plan that was submitted to the city, it required to have 3-story plans. That's correct, Councilman.
So it changed. Okay, sorry.
So it never changed from our formal submittal. What we looked at with you was our preliminary sketch that we did during due diligence, and that's correct.